It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. Brad Miller with you, and we're happy to welcome into studio today from the Big Brothers of Verde Valley. Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Community Board Chair Mary Betcher is here, and we say hello to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you here. Sandy Parker is the manager of Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and good day to you, too.
Thank you for having us.
Look at these smiling faces I've got on this show today. It's going to be great. We want to talk once again. It's been a while since we've talked about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, particularly Verde Valley, and we're going to do that today. What is it? We'll start with that, and then some big events that'll be coming up, and we'll share those with you, ways for you to become involved, because that's, I think, what we want to do today more than anything is let people understand this a very important program, even more so today. We'll talk a bit about what I mean there, but through volunteerism, maybe through a donation, whatever it is, there's a way that you can become involved in the Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. So we're going to talk about that on our show today. So ladies, again, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
And I guess that's my first question, and I'll ask it of whomever. Give me the 30-second. What is Big Brothers, Big Sisters?
Well, Big Brothers, Big Sisters is a one-to-one mentoring with a caring adult and a child. Mm-hmm. We provide a caring adult to mentor a single parent raised by a grandparent or an underprivileged child, and it's really just to help improve the quality of their lives.
Mm-hmm. I think we know, looking at any number of statistics nationally, even locally, that are out there, there are more and more single-parent homes. Mm-hmm. More and more often that's becoming the mother. I saw some stats the other day, and I wish that I'd brought them in because they were very compelling. And to me, every one of them played into the need for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Helping youngsters. What is the typical age of the kids? Or Mary, is there a limit to how old? Up to 18? Or
there is. We start at age 5.
Okay.
And once they're 18, they basically kind of graduate out of the program.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that a big and a little lose contact.
Right.
I know quite a number of matches that just because their child turned 18, they're still in contact.
Sure.
They went to graduations for college.
Some years ago, we talked to a volunteer who was a Big Brother,
mm-hmm.
and the reward that he'd gained over having
mm-hmm.
mentored a number of kids was the best story I've ever heard about the program. It explained it very, very well.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and Mary's over there nodding her head saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that simple. I think one of the things that I misunderstood about this program before I first heard about it was that, well, you've got to take the little to Disneyland. Well, you've got to take the little to, that it has to become some big involved thing where it can be a simple day of tossing the football
time
around.
With them, right? And
Tell me about
it. I do that with my little
mm-hmm.
sister's Penny. She's 12, and we've been together for about 1.5 years, and we just hang out. We like to hike, and we're so well matched. I think that's the key. That our interests are the same. The staff, the match advisors actually interview each of the little and the big extensively. Mm-hmm. And they get to know what are their likes, what do they prefer, what are their personalities, what are their interests. And so then they match those specifically to each other. And to me, I think the process is just amazing because they are so focused on that, and they do such a great job that when you meet that little person, it's just like you've known them all your life. And that's the way I felt. I felt that way twice now, actually. Right. I've had 2 little sisters. And they really do a great job with that. And then you just hang out. We go hiking. We go out for frozen yogurt.
Little things.
Maybe, yeah,
little
just do an art project at home or whatever. But we're outdoors people. So her and I, we do a lot of kayaking and hiking and whatever.
And plenty to do.
We got stuck in the mud a couple weeks ago. We went down to look at the Verde River, and my little car, you know, it didn't look very muddy. We just kind of drove down the road, and then all of a sudden we were stuck. So that was kind of an adventure. So that was
a great lesson.
Yeah.
Everybody should know what it's like to get stuck in the mud at least once. But that's great. It illustrates that it can be very simple day-to-day things. And a lot of times we think sometimes when there's so many cliches about those words like broken home and troubled and all of that. And I know that isn't how it is. But I know those are cliches that get thrown in. But just sometimes the kids, when coming from a single parent family, sometimes there are just different things, different aspects of their lives that they don't get that can be illustrated in the activities you described.
We try to set a good example. We try to show them what their lives could be like, you know, if they so desire.
Sure.
There's a different perspective for that child. And it's not that our lives are that much better. And, you know, I grew up very simply. And I didn't have a lot of the advantages that some of the kids have today either.
Sure.
I would have really appreciated having a big sister. Although I already had one, she was my family, so that's a little different.
Right.
I didn't have the opportunity to get outside of the home, you know, just pal around with somebody who wasn't connected with my situation, you know, and it just makes it so much easier. My husband was mentored by a big brother way back, quite a few years ago, before Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters was founded.
Okay.
Because it's a very old organization. It's over 100 years old, actually. So he's not that old, but
not that far back.
Not that
far back, but back.
And Yavapai County is Big Brothers Big Sisters has been doing this for 42 years.
Oh,
and
that long? Okay, I didn't realize I knew it had been a while, but
since 1971.
Okay.
And in 1986, they saw the need to open an office for the Sedona Verde Valley.
Okay.
So the Sedona Verde Valley office has been here for 33 years, getting bigs and littles and matching them. And really, the one thing I would tell everybody is it's not as hard as you think. I have 2 grown children of my own, and I have 2 grandchildren, and I'm a big. And I work.
You find the time.
It's very, very simple to do. I just incorporate my little into my family. She's done things with me separately. She's done things with me with my grandchildren. And my grandchildren love her just like another member of the family.
And to build on that, Mary said something a minute ago, too, that I think plays into the same thing, that you said it would be interesting in your past to have had a big sister who was outside the family, and I think that's important. A lot of us maybe will find that in friends. Kids may find it in a teacher. May find a lot of different places you can find that successfully. But why is that important to have someone who's kind of outside and maybe can...
Well, because that child can share what's going on in their lives without worrying about it coming back to another family member, because it is confidential. Whatever they tell us, it's kind of like a lawyer or doctor-patient relationship. I don't go back to the mother and say, so-and-so told me this.
Right.
You know, you just don't go there, because that is the value of that relationship, and that's what they can count on. And then it's about building trust. It's about knowing that they have an adult out there that they can trust. That person isn't going to go and tell mommy or tell your sister or tattle on you for doing something or saying something. And then they can share what's going on in school. Yeah. You know, different things like that.
You never know who kids may open up to.
That's right.
And that they have an additional valve to do that, especially if there's, you know, a history of some issues or what have you, how critical that'll be. Ladies, we need to take our first break already. The show is flying by. When we come back, though, I want to talk about volunteers. And there's going to be people out there right now listening who would be ideal candidates to become bigs, and they don't even know it. So we'll talk to them particularly when we come back. Mary Betcher, Sandy Parker, Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters. We're back right after this.
Thank you.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Welcome back to the program again, Countywide today, talking Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters, Mary Betcher and Sandy Parker. Let's talk about, Mary, before the show you said you need volunteers to be bigs.
Absolutely.
And especially fellas.
Especially men and boys, younger men. We just have such a shortage, and in the area there's such a need for boys to have strong, really well-rounded relationships with other, males.
I can see right now, like what Sandy said. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. I work. I've got a million sticks in the fire, so I don't have time. And I would guess that's probably the biggest concern most people have is the time commitment. What do I need to know if I want to volunteer? How much of my time will I need to?
Minimal. We commit. We ask the big to commit for a year for the first, year actually.
Okay.
Some go on longer, but about 8 hours a month is the time commitment.
8 hours a month.
And
doesn't seem like a lot.
Sometimes it ends up to be more, and that's great. But twice a month, for the afternoon or for the morning or whatever, 4 or 5 hours of time, it's really minimal. And you get so much out of it. I get so much out of being with my little that we spend all day together most of the time when we get together.
Yeah, right. I can see just from your experience, what you shared with us already, that 8 hours is for someone who's new, especially, but it turning into more.
Yeah, it does.
But
it doesn't have to. And if you miss a session, you miss getting together. It's nothing bad happens.
Right.
But we just need a lot of. We do need more men that are going to step up to the plate.
And
it doesn't matter what age they are. I mean, the minimum age is 18, Sandy. 16?
No.
For
minimum age is 16 for school-based. From 16 to 18 is what we call site-based bigs, where they are supervised by a Big Brother, Big Sister staff.
Okay.
When they're 18, they can become a community-based, which they can go out into the community, go to the movies, go shopping, go to the park. Okay. And it really is so important, a program. I so believe in this program that I give everything I've got to it.
Well, here you are representing, you've talked about being a big sister. Yeah. The commitment is obviously there. We
need the males. We need, they can do it as a couples match. I know men are kind of hesitant sometimes to volunteer with a child. So it can be a couples match. It can be a family match if they have children already. My children, my son was a big, my daughter was a family match with her children. Okay. Yeah. And so
you're a good illustrator. Your family story is a great illustration of how this can really kind of take off.
Every level was covered there.
Talk to me about matching. Let's just go back to the one-on-one for a moment. When we go and some fella comes in, here's the program today, and says, I want to be a big brother, but I'm very concerned that I'll have the right skills or the right personality or whatever to work with a young man. Tell me about the matching. How does that between
our
the kids?
Our bigs are never just put in the process in the program and left to fend for themselves.
Sure.
We have match advisors that are constantly in contact with them and available to them to help them in any way they can. If they have questions, we provide activities. We try for once a month, sometimes once every other month, that we bring bigs and littles together so that they can meet each other as well and get support from each other as also.
Sure.
But our match advisors talk to our bigs, especially in the first year, at least once a month to see how things are going, if there's any questions, any problems.
That strong support, I can see, would be very
supportive, very supportive.
Very,
needed.
very. That is where most of our expense goes, is in programming.
Okay.
And that's to ensure that there are quality matches, that everybody's comfortable in their match.
You bet. What is the process, Mary? Just kind of tell. I mean, do they meet and try it, or is it different each time?
When I became a big, the match advisor came to my home. She interviewed me. Took about an hour, I guess, after work, so I didn't have to, miss work or anything. She came to my house. She interviewed me. She went back to the office. They do other formalities that are involved, and then they start looking for a match. I'm not privy to all the secret process, but it's very, very effective.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a thorough screening.
It's a very thorough screening.
And they'll call back and say, Mary, we've got little Janie or little Sally.
Right.
And then they meet. You meet with that little.
Okay.
If you click, great. If not, which I don't think I've ever heard of it not happening, but
right.
If not, then they go from there. But
so simple as that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What I'm trying to get at is there's a lot to it. To doing this.
But they make it easy for
But
them.
they make it, it's a
Very
over
easy.
42 years in Yavapai County and almost 100 or so years nationally. They've got it down to a pretty good science.
And the benefits far outweigh any
And we've heard that before.
Yes.
Yeah, you two are testament to that. But sometimes for some people, working one-on-one with a young person isn't going to be the right thing for whatever reason. Do you need volunteers or help with people people that
Right. You
could do
don't
other
have
things?
to be a big brother or big sister to help out with the organization. We take volunteers for events. We're always having events. You can help out in the office or whatever is needed. At one time, you can come continually. It doesn't really matter. But we're open. And we do have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters. And that's where we post our events, our need for volunteers, what's going on, and where we're going to be at.
And
also,
we're always looking for board members for the community board.
Absolutely.
So if their skill is in that area, they should contact Mary. And Mary,
I'll put my number. It's on our webpage.
Okay, a million ways to do it. Let me give some of that information here for our radio listeners and folks TV as well. AZ, just like Arizona, azbigs.org, the website. The phone number is 634-9789, and that's I guess the first step would be to check out one or both of those, and then go from there.
Absolutely.
Okay. We need to again take a break. I hate to pause, but we're going to have to do that for a moment. When we come back, some big events that'll be coming up, fundraiser and other events that are going to be happening, and we'll talk more about that. Arizona or Sedona Verde Valley chapter of the Arizona Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Mary Betcher, Sandy Parker. We'll be back right after this.
I got no balls for losing.
Sergeant, he's in VFib.
Shocking.
Is it real all the time? Just had a few drinks. This can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear.
We're just buzzed.
Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. You'll be fine.
I feel good. Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Fire can happen at any time. What would you try to save?
My family photos.
My grandfather's war memorabilia.
My dogs.
I'm firefighter Brandon Wacker with the Cotton Fire Department. A working smoke detector is your best defense in the event of a fire. Make sure you have a smoke detector in every room except your kitchen. Test them monthly and change the battery once a year. Take the time to save the things you can't replace.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
That's your Sandy Parker, Verde Valley, Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers. I keep forgetting that part.
Okay.
Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and we thank you for joining us. azbigs.org, the website to look up, and Sandy, there's a lot of information that folks will find there. I know one of the ways all organizations need to raise money to keep themselves going, and the bigs and biggers are no different. Your group is no different than that.
Right.
The tax credit is a very kind thing that the state is allowing
It is.
your group to take advantage
It's
of.
called the Working Poor Tax Credit.
Okay.
And it is a dollar for dollar tax credit. And you can do the schools as well as the working poor. So you're not obligated to pick one or the other. You can do both of them. And this tax credit really is a big fundraiser for, well, I don't call it really a fundraiser, donation, really, for us every year.
That diminishes your
really
state tax liability.
Correct.
Similar to what the schools do. Let me just leave that with our folks, because we talk an awful lot about that here, and I think a lot of our listeners will be familiar with that.
Right.
Tell me about some of the events you have coming up.
Okay, we're currently doing one right now. It's called Bowl for Kids' Sake.
Okay.
We just finished one weekend of it, and I got to tell you, we have been so excited about making matches that we've extended it to April 6th.
Okay.
And opened it to anybody who would like to form a team, or as an individual, if they can't get 4 or 5 other people to join them, we will put that team together for them.
Okay.
And they just go out and get pledges and come out on April 6th. They'll call the office and bring their pledge sheet with them and have 2 hours of bowling or 2 games of bowling, pizza. They can win prizes.
A fun way to raise money.
It's a fun way to raise money, but most of all, it's like 80% of our working revenue. And
it's a big one.
It's a very, very big one for us.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it helps us match children. And we have 65 waiting children just in the Sedona Verde Valley area.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
In Yavapai County, we have about 300 waiting littles. That
Is that, I've got to wrap up the show, is that up, I mean, from maybe statistically at any given time? That just seems high to me, but I don't have anything to base it on.
It is a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's only because we keep getting children into the program.
Okay, the demand is there.
The demand is there.
It's very popular.
As we mentioned, ladies, I got to grab it. We've got to run. There's so much. You can get a sense we only kind of touch the tip of the iceberg with this. Find out more. Become involved. That's the best way to roll up your sleeves, and there's a million different ways to become involved in Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters. The phone number again is 634-9789. Online, azbigs.org. There's a Facebook page. Other ways to find out. No excuses. Okay, become involved. You'll feel it in your heart when you do, as our guests today have testified. Mary Betcher and Sandy Parker, Sedona Verde Valley Big Brothers Big Sisters. Ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's our show, and we'll see you next time.
This has been County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's County-Wide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting station.
So it will come a little late for the bowling tournament necessarily, but that's okay. They're still going to see this or hear about it, and they're going to, hopefully pick up the phone and do whatever. And then further, you can watch it online. In fact, you can connect. You can
believe
link
me,
to
my
it.
husband was like, "I'm doing this because he wanted to see how."
You can link to the website if you want to. Put it on AZ Bigs. Brian can show you how to do that. You can link it. It's there as long as we have it available, which is at least 3 or 4 months.